Hello, Monday morning, and Monday morning is wet in my area. Unfortunately, last week the nice weather we had is gone altogether. We are now back to currently sort of 10 degrees. It's cold, it's wet, it's windy, and I have one final hedge to finish off from last year. So, I don't know if you can see, but this hedge here. This is a hedge here that's been hanging around a little while on my list. So this place here I'm at now, after I've cut this hedge today, will become fortnightly grass cutting. It's only grass cutting, but the lady has been asking me for a while to cut the hedge. So anyway, I'm going to see how I get on. I'll see what I can film for you, but because the weather is so on and off, I'm going to be, when it is dry, I'm going to try and crack on as much as I can. It's not particularly massive hedge considering some of the ones I do. It's just a conifer. I've not cut it before. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but let's get this week started and see how we get on.
So this hedge ended up being a bit of a pain in the backside for me. As you can see, it's not really that level. I think whoever cut it before sort of hacked it up a little bit. From the top here, there you can't really see too well from the video, but there's sort of two different levels from the top. One of the levels is for the next door, and one of the levels is for this side of the hedge. Next door, I think, obviously cut the hedge before. They obviously cut the top of it because they really, I think, only cut their side of it. So their side from the neighbour's side looks really nice and level, but the side from the lady I work for looks all up and down and lumpy and bumpy. So I was just trying not to take an absolute ton off of it so that it then looked wavy from next door, but I also wanted it to look nice for the lady I work for. Another bit of a shock I had from this hedge was halfway through the job, the lady I work for, and I've worked for her for a while now, she came out and see I was doing a good job and informed me that she'd actually been round to next door at some point in the week, and she had okayed it for me to go round and cut their side of the hedge as well. Now that surprised me because I'd only really given her a price to cut her side of the hedge, and I didn't have any intention of going around next door and tidying their side up. I'm always quite happy to cut the top of all the hedges. I never just cut her side of the top, and I always cut all the way across the top. But I had no intention of going around next door and cutting their side of the hedge. It wasn't included in the price. So I'll be back at this property in a fortnight's time, and whether or not the neighbours come out and speak to me, I'm not sure if they were expecting their side to be cut. But I didn't see any neighbours there at this day. I'm quite happy to cut that side of the hedge, but obviously the price would have had to change quite drastically. So just little things like that you have to sometimes watch out for. As I say, the lady I work for, she was very, very keen to me to go around next door and keep the neighbours happy, but I say the price wasn't included. As you can see here on the very left hand side, the hedge has been hacked away a little bit. It's whoever cut it last time sort of dug into it quite deeply, so I was just trying to even it up a little bit. I don't think it'd probably been cut for sort of well over a year. So I've been working here probably since April last year, and the lady's been quite keen for me to cut hedges and bushes, all that sort of thing, but I've just never had the time for it. So this was the first chance I had to cut some of the hedge for her, and hopefully she was happy with it. So this hedge is all done, and sometimes on these sort of jobs you've just got to be happy with the way it finishes off. You can't get everything nice and level, you can't have it all straight lined all the time. You can only work with what you've got, and I say I was quite happy with the end product. Now this is just a quick glimpse of the rose job I've been doing. Now move around the front of the property. So this rose here is going. There's a small rose in the middle which I had to remove as well, and there's a bigger rose on the end which I had to take away. This day absolutely hammered it down with rain, so you didn't see too much of it. So that rose is gone, little rose in there all gone, and one on the end is gone as well. They're keeping the very fourth one on the end there. So this is Tuesday, and the footage you're going to see now is just a bit of a mixture of different clips I could show you from a Tuesday jobs I do. This is the retirement place that me and Dad do together, and this place has got really mossy all of a sudden. I know it's the time of year for moss, but it really has. So we're going to be probably treating this with some sort of weed and feed in the next sort of month or so. Really nice looking day today. Really looks really warm. It wasn't. It was quite fresh today. Say the day before this we had a massive downpour, so I was quite surprised to actually this day be actually as dry as it was. I love the spring, and I love all the spring bulbs that all pop up, daffodils and all the rest of it. I absolutely love the look of them all, but I can't stand working around them. So these daffodils at this property here, they have a lot of them. You know, there's a lot of people that live in this retirement place, so they all plant their own little bulbs here and there. Can't do anything about them for a long time. I mean, they do look good, but man, I have to spend a long time going around them, strimming around them, making sure I don't run any over. And I say they hang around for quite a long time. You know, it adds a lot of time to the job. Say that today I didn't show any footage of it, but I had to do quite a lot of strimming. And so because everybody's got a little cluster of bulbs around, you have to strim around everything, and it can drive me a little bit mad. So this mower I'm using is my Honda 19-inch with the roller, and it is pretty perfect for doing this type of job. There aren't very many large areas at this property. It's all made up of little pieces of lawn. In fact, this bit down the back here is the longest section where I can actually get a decent stripe on, but most of it is made up of little bits and pieces, and there are a lot of little things you've got to watch out for. So ride-on mowers up here would be a total waste of time, even with the 21-inch. In some areas, you know, I'm struggling to get through. There are a lot of little drain covers that I have to go around, so the 19-inch one at this place works really well. It does stripe up a few of the little lawns really nice. So this is some more footage from the Tuesday, and I say it looks a really glorious day, but it was one of those really annoying days where you weren't sure, do I want my jacket on, do I not want my jacket on, am I hot, am I cold, I'm not sure what's going on. This lawn again, guys, is really mossy, really is that time of year. Most of my lawns are looking really scruffy. I really would love to go around with a lot of weed and feed, but at the end of the day, guys, these aren't my lawns, these are my customers' lawns, and I can only advise them. I would love to go around with a ton of weed and feed for them, or scarify them all the time, but sometimes they're just not too keen. You know, the customers don't want to be spending the extra money. So this is the second time we've cut this lawn this year, and the lawns haven't really started putting on their really thick spring growth yet, so it is fairly easy going at the minute. We're pretty quick in and out of these properties at the minute, but that will soon change, another month's time, and there'll be a lot more grass coming off. This place is another place where we're very lucky. We don't have to take any of the garden waste away. We only ever do the lawns at this place. I actually have another gardener that comes in and does all the other bits and pieces for them. so we don't have to take any of the garden grass away. We have a little compost area where we just dump all the grass that we make. These type of jobs again are priceless. You know, you don't have to take the rubbish away. If we had to take the grass away from this place, there would be a heck of a lot of it. I mean, we'd end up with bags and bags every single week. So as you see, the weather on this day was very nice and dry. It was brilliant for grass cutting because it was quite windy all day long. Unfortunately, guys, that was not going to last. Wednesday was a total washout.
So Wednesday morning, and it's very, very wet today, guys. Very wet. It's been pouring down all morning. It's been one of those mornings I keep looking out the window and thinking, right, I'm going to go for it, and then when I go to load up the van, it pours down again. So the only reason I've left the house is because sometimes when I work on a Wednesdays, it's just down the hill from where I live, but sometimes I'm lucky, and when I drive down the bottom of the hill, sometimes the weather is totally different. Sometimes the sun's out, so I do have to chance it and just see. I have scrapped one job this morning. I won't be able to do anything there this morning. It is far too wet, but I am going to try and do something. I mean, it's the first thing I look at in the morning is the weather forecast. I'll wake up in the morning, look at what the weather's forecast, and today I just knew it was going to be bad. It looked like it was going to be sort of wet all up till sort of this afternoon. So but being a gardener can be a problem. All my customers, when I very first pick up my customers, when I start working for them, it's one of the things I say to them is that when they're on my schedule, they will be put on a set day. So their day may be Monday morning, and I say to them that'll be their day all the time. You know, anytime I'm turning up to them, they'll be Monday, whether they be weekly or fortnightly. That'll be the time I turn up to them. And what I do say to them is, unfortunately, if there's an act of God, so if it's been really wet, or we've had, you know, whatever it may be, you know, a meteorite shower, whatever, I will say to the customers, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. If something happens on your day, that's not my fault, that's the weather's fault. I always say to them, I will try my best to catch up. I will try my best to maybe come back to them at a different point, but I never promise I will. You know, it's always a tricky one, because say this morning I missed a job off, say this afternoon the sun comes out, sometimes those customers might give you a phone call and say, oh, what's going on, it's sunny now, you're not here. And obviously if today is all wet today, you know, I could turn around and say, well, I could put you on to tomorrow, but my tomorrow day is already busy with my Thursday people. So what do I then do? Move people from Thursday to Friday? It's just going to become a right jumble. So I will say to the customers today, if I don't get round to everybody today, I will text them and just say, look, I'm really sorry, didn't get a chance to today, weather was too bad. And normally, I must be honest, 90% of my customers are quite happy with that. They don't mind. It is what it is. It is still really wet down here, although they've had a lot of rain. I'm going to have to just be turning around and going home. I think it's I was supposed to be cutting grass today, so it's all part of the gardening life. It's all part of it. You can't do anything about it. You can't ask the weather to please be nice, but sometimes you just gotta say enough's enough, I'm going home. We just phone the missus and say, get the kettle on, I'll be 5 minutes.